Okay, so welcome everybody. Super excited to have you guys here tonight for a really important topic, but also because we have a guest speaker with us. But those of you who don't know me, because I know I see a few names who I know. Hi, Joanne. I'm sorry, I get so excited when I see you guys. So those of you who do not know me, I'm Susan Richardson. I am a Young Living Diamond. We've been using their products for 11 years with our families. And when I first found Young Living, I was not well. I was really sick. I was exhausted. I was overweight, and life was just really hard. Autism was kind of at its percent. It was up there, right? So literally after my first experience with oils, I had an epiphany. Like, it was literally life altering, and I felt better than I had in several years. But caveat is sometimes it's not that fast for y'all. Sometimes you have to use the products and things that we're going to talk about tonight consistently for a month or two or three, you know what I mean? And sometimes, by the grace of God, you use a drop or two and you just have this revelation just open up to you, and it's just blows your socks off. So that's what happened to me. And that's how I ended up being here. Because 10 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be doing a class on a Tuesday night with you all with Barbette talking about the gut. But because the products work so well, we get out of our comfort zone and we just get in front of people and we just talk to you guys about what's going on. So I am super excited. We've been doing Tuesday night classes for a couple years now, and tonight we are blessed with Barbette Spitler. She is a silver on our team, but more importantly, she is also a RN, an author, public speaker, energy healing. She's an expert in energy medicine and wellness life coach. And I probably missed some things in there. She's just freaking awesome. Okay. If you guys have not heard her speak before, you are in for a huge treat. She's going to love on us. So Barbette, I'm going to hand it off to you and see if there's anything you want to say.
So one of the reasons I was so happy to talk about this topic is because I have studied nutrition and gotten an additional certificate in that. And actually the nutrition piece of it was my interest long before I became a nurse even. And so I love talking nutrition, but I also love talking about the connection between the gut is what we call it. And by the way, if you hear a scream, it is not me. It is a very large macaw in the other side of the house. I'm sure he hears me, and occasionally he makes himself known. His name is Cuervo. So anyway, now Susan, do you want me to just start? Do you want to go with?
We can just go with the flow. So you can dive in, or I can dive in, however you want to do this.
If you don't mind, I want to start with the gut health. You know, we used to always just talk about it being your intestines, okay? And now probably the past 10 years, it's been all about gut. And you hear them talk about leaky gut and how important gut health is to your overall health. So I want to talk just briefly for the immune system. So 70% of your immune system resides in your intestines. Now, I know that sounds rather odd, but when you consider that there's 100,000 different bacteria out there, and less than 1,000 of them are disease producing or bothersome, we'll call it, then you have to go, well, what about all the rest of them? And many of the rest of them are healthy. We are meant to have them in our system, and they are what drives our immune system. So if you had ear infections quite a bit when you were a kid, and you were put on amoxicillin or other such assorted things, then the antibiotics are not selective. They are like napalm going through your intestines, So they may help with a sinus infection or a bite infection or something like that. I'm not saying they're horrible. What I'm saying is that they have indiscriminate killing abilities in the healthy bacteria in your system. When we were younger, we didn't know. We didn't have to worry about it though, for if you had an antibiotic, because our dietary choices included things that had healthy bacteria in it. For example, when I was younger, everybody I knew had a garden. It was not even a, hey, do you have a garden? Do you grow tomatoes? Everybody had a garden. And in that garden, there would be the things that you would eat all summer long. And we could pluck them right off the plant and take them into our digestive system, dirt and all. We didn't have to worry about herbicides and pesticides because we really never used them. We didn't have the word organic because everything was. And if you took it into the house to wash it, you didn't wash it with soap and water because you weren't worried about herbicide, pesticides, residue. So we would eat and we would naturally replace the bacteria that needed to be in our digestive system. Now, we also did not have a whole lot of processed foods, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But you were able to replace your bacteria in your gut much easier in the old days, and we had less irritants than we do today. So, irritants, we'll talk about the processed foods, sugars, sodas, many of the drinks that are out on the market today are terrible for your digestive system. If you open up your pantry and it is stocked full of processed foods like Pop-Tarts and potato chips and candy bars and Cheetos, and I could go on and on, every single one of those irritates your gut, your inner intestinal lining. And because they all have food additives, preservatives, and dyes, those also kill off bacteria. There's nothing healthy about those things. Well, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of those things. So today's world, we do very little to replace the bacteria that belongs in our gut. And we actually went through a time frame in the late 80s and 90s where the word bacteria freaked everybody out so much that they would purposely do things to reduce the amount of bacteria, the natural microbiome, in and on us. And so thankfully we've gotten away from a lot of that. But anytime you see antibacterial something, that typically means there's a chemical in there that will disrupt the intestines and all that healthy bacteria that you need in there. Okay, want to add anything, Susan?
That was wonderful. No.
Okay. Because the immune system relies on that bacteria, it is critical that we get that bacteria into our system. Now, for some of you, you might be hearing bacteria and your brain wants to explode like, wait a minute, bacteria, you want that in your system? So for the rest of the time, I'll try to use probiotic, okay? Remember, biotic is the bacteria. And it actually means life. Antibiotic means to get rid of that life. I air quoted myself. And probiotic means that they are healthy, okay? So where do you find healthy bacteria, probiotics? In our diet, as I mentioned earlier, you would find it on your naturally grown or local farmers market lettuce, tomatoes, green beans, all those kinds of fresh produce that you would find at a market. And sauerkraut, especially we used to make our own sauerkraut, fermented foods, like there's a Chinese or an Asian form of fermented cabbage called kimchi. There is pickles. We also used to make our own pickles when we were growing up. And so there was always something all summer long that was fermenting. So those fermented foods, probably everybody on here would be like, oh, sauerkraut, kimchi, but maybe pickles, but you don't eat enough of them to really count as a healthy probiotic. So you can find it in something that is known as kefir. It's Kefir. It is a fermented milk product. And it is, there are, let me think. When I used to teach this program, there was only one brand on the market, and you could only find it at specialty stores. And then Kroger started carrying it, and now you can even find it at Walmart. So it sounds blah when you think of fermented milk. It's not sour milk. It is fermented milk. And you know what else is fermented milk? A good, healthy yogurt. So the kefir is like a yogurt. It's just thinner. It's almost like a drinkable yogurt. So it is low fat, and it's flavored with all the different flavors. You just got to flip the label over and make sure that you look in the fine print, and what you're looking for is the names of the strains of the healthy probiotics that might be in there. So now that brings me up, and Susan, I hope you don't mind if I just jump and keep going. So back in the old days, maybe no, Susan's too young.
I don't know about that.
Back in the old days, we used to have this yogurt that was called Dannon, and it had fruit on the bottom. And every time you flipped the lid off of it, you had to stir up the fruit that was at the bottom. You had to stir it into the yogurt. And the reason was that the reason they kept them separate is because the bacteria that was in the yogurt would eat the sugar, the fruit sugar, and the product would go bad within 2 or 3 days. So if they kept them separate, the shelf life was a little bit longer. It would go like 7 days. Fabulous, wonderful, the best. Well, then Yoplait came along and they said, let's do an experiment. If we whip it all together, pasteurize it, which means kill all the healthy probiotics, we'll kill them all. And then the shelf life will be like 45 days. And then we can flavor it up with all these different sugars and flavorings. And they won every taste test. But they failed at the health benefits. There's zero, and I can't make that big enough, zero health benefits in the Yoplait yogurts. You flip them over, there's no probiotics. It's just all sugar and flavored glop. So if you love Yoplait yogurt, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Ain't nothing good in there. So then healthy people, the health holistic community started screaming that we need to have these probiotics. So Activa comes along and says, hey, we'll take care of that. We'll put 3 or 4 strains of a healthy bacteria in there after we pasteurized it, right before we seal it up and send it out. So that was Activa. They did that. And then we got Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt comes along. It's a thicker yogurt. It actually has healthy probiotics in it. And there's 3 to 5 strains of healthy probiotics in there. Now, there's no way to count how many billions of them or millions of them are in there, just the strains, because that's what they put in. Okay. Kefir has 12 to 15 different strains of different healthy probiotics. So that's much better than even Greek yogurt. So you guys are probably going to laugh. You're going to be like, I knew she did this. I make my own kefir and I'll share it with you some other time. There are grains that are the bacteria because they grow. And I just did it today. I pull out all the grains and they are edible. And I pour fresh milk in there and then it ferments that milk. And then I drink the kefir. And you can add a little bit of like a local raw honey. You can add a fruit flavoring, just like you would plain yogurt. It tastes like plain yogurt, but it has all these healthy probiotics in it. Okay. If you're thinking, I can't stand milk products or yogurt, I just can never do it. I was going to have a bottle sitting here. There is a tea-based probiotic drink that is called kombucha. So kombucha, there's a couple brands out there, national brands, that are the healthier versions. What you have to do, and Synergy, what's it called? Synergy is one of the flavors. It's the brand. I don't know. I'll get it in a minute. There are other ones, like Kroger has one that's, I think, called Simply Truth. But when you turn the label over and you look at the sugars, the sugar content is very high, almost like eating a candy bar. And so you don't want that. What you really want to do is get the healthier versions that have a lower sugar content. Now they do have a little, because there has to be a fruit or a something base in there that has fructose in order to feed the bacteria. But what you'll notice with kombucha is if you pick up the bottle and you look at the bottom, you can see all the, I'm going to call it like the mother in apple cider vinegar. You can see there is a level of bacteria in there. So it's very effervescent. So you don't want to shake the bottle to shake up the probiotics. You want to just roll it a little and get the probiotics separated out, diffused back out into the drink, and then open it up. It is so effervescent that my granddaughter doesn't like the effervescent. So we pour it into a cup and let it sit for a little while, and then she'll come back and drink that. She prefers the kefir. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Susan?
Keep going. You're awesome.
Okay.
I'm thinking we're going to do a part, or yeah, I'll jump in after you're done.
Okay. So I talked to you about how you can replace these things. Now, when would you do that? So you can drink a little bit of kefir or a little bit of kombucha every single day. Okay. If you are on an antibiotic, or you've just finished a course of antibiotic, or in some cases where they've had 3 or 4 courses of antibiotics and then wonder why they have diarrhea, those are the people that need kefir or kombucha, and probably a capsule form of a probiotic at least every day, because we really have to get that gut backed up to its population to maintain health. Now, in today's world, I got to tell you, they have vancomycin is a very strong antibiotic that is given to people who have C. diff. It's the short name for Clostridium difficile. And that is a gut-wrenching diarrhea is what it causes. And so then they give them this antibiotic, and it's called vancomycin. It's the only one that gets any of these little buggers. And then keep in mind, this person has had diarrhea typically for quite some time before they get the vancomycin. And then the vancomycin kills off all the bacteria in your gut. And then guess what happens? They're sick. Your immune system is tanked to the very bottom. If you can rebuild that probiotic level, great. But a lot of older people in their 80s and 90s, they cannot. And so guess what they do? Have you ever heard of a fecal transplant?
Mhm.
They'll do that. They get pooey from a healthy person, and you can't sterilize it because you want all the bacteria that's in the healthy pooey. And then they go up in your hinder and then they spray it along the intestines to help repopulate your intestines. I'm just saying. Okay. So what other kinds of things can disrupt your intestine and that microbiome? So your digestion, I talked a little bit earlier and I said something about processed foods, okay? Processed foods mean that they have 0 enzymes, no bacteria, no healthy status, no nutritional status that is good for you. So for example, if I had a box of Cheetos, is it Cheetos or Cheez-Its? Cheez-Its is in a box. I would pull that up and I would say, there is nothing healthy in here. I don't care how they market it. I don't care how they say, oh, it's baked, so it's lovely. Or they can put natural right across the top of it. And I'm telling you, if it doesn't grow on a tree or in a bush and you can't make it find in nature, then it's not natural. So in there is dyes, there is gluten, and remind me to talk about gluten in a minute. But there's no enzymes even to help the body to digest what you just took in. Enzymes come from your fruits and vegetables. So if the majority of your plate or your snack bowl is dried, roasted, baked, boxed, processed, then there's no enzymes in there to help you digest it. And that too is an issue, okay? So the best nutritional values come from healthy, organic fruits, vegetables, healthy nuts, healthy seeds. Now, I am going to throw one thing in here about nuts. Peanuts are grown in the ground. They are scooped up out of the ground, and you would think to yourself, oh, then I'm going to get some dirt, right? And dirt is good for me. Well, they've been treated, the plants have been treated, and that absorbs into the dirt. So then we scoop these peanuts out of the ground and we run them through a spray wash that may have chemicals in it. I won't even discuss that, but it will also have water. That water then gets in and amongst all the little nooks and crannies of the peanut shell, and it can cause mold. Mm-hmm. So then after we've stored these peanuts for a while, mold is growing. So now we got to spray them again. And this time we're going to spray them with a mold killer. But the mold doesn't go anywhere after it dies. So it's on the peanuts, and then we can shell them and dry roast them. But the mycotoxins from the mold that is now dead on the peanuts bakes right there, and we ingest those. So I am not now, nor will I ever be, a fan of peanuts. Just so you know. I have never investigated, by the way, I just got this message in my head about boiled peanuts, because you know how sometimes you can see that on the road in Virginia or whatever. I've never investigated how they boil them and how, I don't know. I can't speak to that. Can you, Susan? Do you have any clue?
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know. So there are other things that grow under the ground that we need to also be mindful of. So potatoes, you know, those are things that grow under the ground and then they are bagged up and all of that. Well, you're going to scrub them before you cook them, or you're going to scrub them before you boil them in water or whatever. And the purpose is less about getting the dirt off and more about getting any of the chemical residues or herbicides, pesticides, mold, toxicity stuff, all of that. You want all of that off. Okay. Let me see if there's anything over in the chat that I need to address. My husband makes ours. Sarah, does he make your kombucha or your kefir?
So actually we make our own sauerkraut and our own kombucha. We have the scobies and all the things for the kombucha. So he does it. I don't really know the process, but.
So I just want to let you know, I have been for years, I've made kombucha with scobies. And one of the things that I found most fun was to run the scobies that you get in your little SCOBY hotel when you're done with them, and keep them there and keep feeding them iced tea, you know, all that. Then run them through like a Vitamix or a NutriBullet, and so that they're complete mush. Add in a lovely fruit syrup that you've made, like elderberry or something like that. Mix it all together, dehydrate it, and you have the healthiest fruit roll-ups, fruit snacks for kids.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Okay. Susan.
Yes.
In all your years of studying the ditch and switch things that we have for cleaners and all of that.
Yes.
What did you discover about things like laundry detergent and dryer sheets and fabric softeners, just to name a few, and how they disrupt the microbiome? And I'm going to turn my light on while you answer that.
Yes. So they do disrupt the microbiome, which also affects the endocrine system, which are your hormones, and the immune system. And we had been doing research at the beginning of COVID, right? Because a lot of women were at home, and well, families were home, you know, like it was no longer even just women. We were all like indoors. And one of the things that we found out was that the air was more polluted indoors than outdoors. And there was a study that we were teaching in our immune classes about that the study was on women who worked in the home had more serious health, compromised health than women who worked out of the home. And they were able to link it back to the laundry room. And it was because the air, the fabric sheets and the laundry detergent were polluting the air, and the women were home and inhaling it, and they were having all these health issues. So it's not only just the gut, it was like systemic health issues and lung issues and stuff like that. So one of the things we were teaching back when we were all secluded at home was opening up our windows and making sure we're airing things out, you know, getting rid of dryer sheets. Y'all, we don't need our clothes to smell like dryer sheets. You have your oils, put them on your dryer balls, put them in there. You know, you can use, instead of putting fabric softener in there, you can use white vinegar, and you don't smell the vinegar on your clothes, but it will make them smoother and softer. It doesn't get that crunchy, fresh air feel, right? And then Young Living has the laundry detergent, which you can actually dilute into, like, one bottle will make 3 bottles, right? So you can take them into thirds and add distilled water to that and mix it up and use it that way. So then it less is more, right? Like, and I found that when we use the laundry detergent, if you use too much, it'll actually make your clothes stinky. Like, you don't need a lot of our laundry detergent to clean your clothes. And if you're using, no matter what detergent we are using, so tie this back into the conversation, right? No matter what you're using, we don't rinse all of the detergents out of our clothing. It just doesn't. It sits on our clothing, right? And they'll actually put optimal brighteners in the conventional products on the market. And when they do that, when we put our clothes on us, on our children, our grandchildren, we are actually sitting with the detergent sitting on our skin. And what happens is it absorbs and it gets into our bloodstream, which is causing a lot of health conditions. But then it also kills the microbiome that's on our, so Barbette's talking about the microbiome in our gut, right? We have healthy bacteria in our gut, which is critical for health of the entire body, the brain, the heart, the liver, everything, right? But it also, like, it's on the skin. I forget how much of it, like, for every one human cell, we have 10 bacteria cells in our body. So we are, here we go, guys. We are more bacteria than we are human. So there you go, right? And when we wear our clothing that has conventional, I'll say it that way, laundry detergents and that, we are destroying the biome on our skin and the good bacteria. And then what happens? We start getting sick because we need that as our first line of protection for our immune system and all of our health. Okay.
Absolutely. There's a commercial on TV that I'm sure y'all have seen. It's for Gain. I'm not downing or dissing Gain at all. What I am saying is watch the commercial and watch how that they take the article of clothing and put their face in it or what, and just inhale. And every time it happens, I think to myself, if that woman or anybody knew what they actually were inhaling, they would never do it. The fabric softeners, they're over scented. What you are inhaling is all these molecules of these synthetic chemicals, and the fragrances, you inhale them into your lungs, and then your lungs go, oh, great, I got to get rid of this garbage, and into your bloodstream it goes. And then now it's going everywhere in your body. And then your body is trying to discern, what is this? What do I do with it? Can I get rid of it? If it can get rid of it, it'll do it through the liver. And so then the liver gets overtaxed because of all the angst of getting all these toxins out of your system. And then it goes to the kidneys. And then your kidneys get not happy. But if your body can't send it to the liver and it cannot send it out to get disposed of, it will store it in your fat. Mm-hmm. And so people who are very, very toxic and have a lot of toxins in their home, in their diet, thus in their system, they really have trouble losing weight because it's now not just diet, drop the fat. It's now diet, you got to cleanse your body to get rid of the chemicals that are being stored in your fat.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then here, let me just, you triggered a thought, Barbette. So if we don't have a healthy gut, which Barbette is saying, we don't have a healthy liver. If we don't have the healthy liver, it's what triggers our steroid hormones, which control so many things in our bodies, right? Specifically, like even it controls our metabolism, the body's ability to deal with inflammation and the immune, and even salt and water balance, and like all these things. Fertility has to do with this. And if our liver's not working and it's not, it doesn't trigger cholesterol. Cholesterol has a bad rap. Cholesterol is not a bad thing in our body. We need it. And if the cholesterol isn't triggering, it's not triggering I can't say this one, progesterone. The progesterone is the master hormone to all the hormones in your body. So if your gut is off, your liver's off, and the cholesterol is not triggering that progesterone, it's throwing all of your hormones off. So then when people come to me and they ask about fertility or, menstrual migraines or PMS or, cystic fibrosis and all these things, right? That, diabetes, like that's a hormone thing, right? And it's like, go back to the gut. Like we have to clean the gut and give the gut the TLC it needs. So all the other functions in the body can do what they need to do, but it all trails back to that microbiome in the gut.
True. It's all connected. I do want to talk about the liver for just a minute. So you said that cholesterol gets a bad rap. And so I'm going to talk about that because I was nursing in the hospitals when cholesterol medications first came out. And when they first came out, they were designed to reduce the amount of blood cholesterol before a person had their open heart surgery. So they were meant for short duration, 3 to 6 weeks before an open heart surgery. So then the pharmaceutical industry decided, wow, this is really going well. So how about we just tell everybody your cholesterol needs to be below this number? And so it was originally up in the 300s before you had open heart. And then they dropped it to 289. And then it went to 269. And then it kept dropping to the point where I was having a out and out argument with a neurologist in 2012 when he said my husband's cholesterol at 118 was too high and it needed to be below 70. And here's how a cholesterol medicine works. It goes, hey, liver, shh, sit down, take a break, no cholesterol, no, don't make any, stop. And then every 3 to 6 months, you have to go to the doctor and get a liver function test because you're taking a medicine that tells your body to stop making what it naturally makes. 85% of your blood cholesterol comes straight from your liver. You need it. So just saying. Okay, so back to the detergents, the fabric softeners and all of that. Fabric softeners work by coating the fibers in your clothing. That's how they work. And so you're not gonna get them off. Even after you wash 3 or 4 times, you're not gonna get them off. And now they have these things, these little pellet things you throw in your dryer so that they can smell better too. Stop it. Somebody in this group, for me, she's in the second row over there. Hi, Kim. She made her own dryer balls a couple years ago.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So they apparently it's a thing. You can make your own dryer balls and you can put in your own scents from the essential oils. It's that simple. We haven't used fabric softener in so many years that our 12-year-old washing machine has never seen a fabric softener. What we put in the bleach and what we put in the fabric softener is white vinegar. Now we go through probably half a gallon of vinegar a month, but that's just because there's only 2 of us at home now. If I had kids, we'd be going through a gallon a month.
We go through a lot.
Yeah. And it's inexpensive and it cleans out all the gunk in your washing machine. You never have to use those chemical things to do your washing machine. But you know, without using dryer sheets and all of that, the other thing you don't have to worry about is, you know, every 6 months, you're supposed to pull out the internal filter in your dryer and wash it with soap and water. It's not about scooping out the lint. It's about getting the chemicals off the filter. But if you're not using chemicals, you don't have to do that. Just saying. So what came up for me a few minutes ago was we were talking about ingesting bacteria. That not long ago, somebody said to me when something hit the floor and they picked it up and they were going to put it right back in their mouth. And they said, whoa, you know, 10-second rule. No, that does not apply. And here's why. In every study that they do, outside of washing machines, for example, stall doors in bathrooms, women's handbags, people's shoes, the numbers of the very bad bacteria are huge. The numbers of the good bacteria on those kinds of places is low. So I could give you the numbers on the shoes and all that stuff, but the bottom line of it is, if you're wearing your shoes outside your house and then you wear your shoes inside your house, that your floors, your carpets, they are not clean, even if you have just swept and mopped them. They're not clean enough for you to ever get on the floor and lick it. So if something drops on the floor, do not pick it back up and put it in your mouth. You pick it up and you can wash it. Like if it's chopped olives, you go wash them and then you can eat them. But if you can't, throw it away. Just saying. No 10-second rule. It does not exist. Okay. One more thing I want to add in there when we're talking about laundry and germs. Now I'm talking about the less than 1,000 types of different bacteria that are bad, not good. I know somebody who has had the same pair of jeans on for a very long time and does not wash them. And so I went on and they're clean looking. Anyway, I went looking for a study about unwashed jeans. And what I found was, on every single pair of unwashed jeans, for whatever length of time it was that they had not been washed, they all had E. coli, which can be deadly, on the outside of the jeans. It's not like they went in and dug it around inside. It's on the outside of the jeans. The dirtiest had the most life-threatening bacteria on them were the jeans that the narrator of the study was doing. She had flown 3 different airplanes to get across the nation to do this program. And so she's like, oh, well, just go ahead and do mine too. She'd been on 3 different airplanes. Clean lady, didn't use the bathroom in the airplane, just sitting on the seats. And she had the highest number of life-threatening germs, bad bacteria. So what am I saying? I am saying that everyone should do their laundry. Everyone needs to wash their hand towels. Everybody needs to wash their washcloths. Pay attention to these things. Don't wait till they smell. By the time they smell, it's way bad.
You're gonna make me twitch.
I know.
I'm like, oh, we have teenagers. I'm just saying.
I know. All right, so let's talk about, can we talk about Life 9, which is one of our products? You, Susan, you put together all the listing of all 9 of the strains of healthy bacteria that are in Life 9. Hello, that's why they call it Life 9.
Yes.
I have heard over time that 3 of those are called super strains, but I don't really know what that means. Can you explain that?
Why don't we dive into what they are and explore them? Can we do that? Okay.
Yes.
So there's 17 billion live cultures and 3 of them are super strains. So they are like powerful. Okay. The super strains are proven to boost immunity. They improve nutrient absorption. So even those of us who have like leaky gut and stuff like that, like it's going to help us to absorb our nutrition, and it's going to relieve bowel distress. Okay. So I'm gonna transparency. I do not know how to say these. So Barbette, you may have to help me pronounce these.
Okay, I'll try.
Number 1 is lactobacillus. I don't even know if that's even close. No?
Lactobacillus acidophilus.
Okay, there you go. See, teamwork. All right. So this one actually, and I was surprised, helps to maintain a healthy sugar and acid balance in the body. which is really good. And we're going to talk about acid in just a minute, like the pH with another product that we have. But it also supports digestion and immune health and is acid and bile resistant. So what that says is when we take our Life 9, we take this probiotic, it will not be destroyed by the acid or the bile that's in your gut and in your system. So that's cool, because that means that when we take the supplement, it's not going to get destroyed. It actually gets used. Okay. And then it also provides long lasting colonization. So it stays in the gut. So what we're doing is we're putting good bacteria in. And by the way, if you guys want to get rid of the bad bacteria, what's the supplement we use? Pop quiz. What gets rid of bad bacteria, yeast, and fungus in the gut?
Is it Digest?
Well, Digest does do that. I'm like, I have let y'all down. Inner defense. Inner defense. Inner defense. Thank you, Rhonda. Inner defense goes in and kills the bad guys, right? It goes in and it actually consumes it, engulfs them, and then we pass it through, right? But when we get rid of the bad bacteria, if we don't replace it with good bacteria, it's going to repopulate the bad bacteria that's hung around. So they are going to be stronger and have more strength, right? So we want to put that good bacteria in to repopulate that good stuff. Okay. So if you're using inner defense, it's highly recommended that you also use the Life 9 or a good probiotic with it, because when you're using that inner defense, it's destroying that. Okay. But you also want to take them separate. So don't take them both at night before you go to bed, because while it won't destroy your Life 9 completely, it will have friendly fire, and you want to get the most out of your supplements. So I spread mine 4-6 hours apart. So I take my inner defense in the morning and afternoon, and I take my Life 9 at night. And I just keep that balance there. Okay. The second, Barbette, help me.
Lactobacillus plantarum, I think.
There you go. Okay, so this one helps create a healthy barrier in your colon to keep non-beneficial bacteria from penetrating the lining of your intestines and entering your bloodstream. Doesn't that sound like a good thing?
That's leaky gut.
There you go. There you go. It also helps to ease digestive distress, and it supports a healthy inflammatory response in your body. We all have inflammation in our body. Your body is designed to know what to do with it. And by putting these supplements into our body, we're just giving our body a little TLC to do what it already knows what to do. Okay. And it also has shown a reduction in the negative effects of the mycotoxins. So Barbette talked about that with the peanuts, right? She talked about the mold and fungus on the peanuts. These are our mycotoxins, okay? So if you still like your peanuts, you might want to make sure you're drinking or you're eating your Life 9 with it. Maybe, I don't know. Sounds good, right? All right, the number 3 is your Lactobacillus
Salivarius.
Thank you. All right. This one supports the inflammatory response as well. And it also supports your immune system, but it also helps to support those healthy cholesterol levels. Remember when we talked about the gut related to the liver that's related to the cholesterol? This is working with that system, right? So did you guys like this supplement is full of powerful components, okay? So the fourth one, Barbette.
It's Lactobacillus abulosus.
Yeah, what she said. It's an R. There you go. This is actually part of the normal gut microflora in humans, and it is also known to support the healthy immunity. It helps your body resist allergies. It helps to support healthy skin. So side note, if somebody asks me about skin issues, the first thing that I recommend is a good probiotic. I talk about their gut, like what are you guys eating? What's your child's diet like? And sulfurzyme and Life 9, I think, are critical for anybody who wants to give their skin some TLC. This can also reduce symptoms of gastrointestinal distress, and it also helps with healthy weight management, the cholesterol levels again, and it also helps to reduce pesticide toxicity. So no matter how well you guys eat, we are still exposed to stuff, right? Sometimes we eat on the fly. Sometimes we eat our fruits and veggies before we wash them. And if you don't have the Thieves fruit and veggie wash, get it. It is phenomenal. Here's my homework to you. Buy the fruit and veggie wash. Go get a bunch of grapes and soak your grapes in it and be blown away. And you guys will never not use this, because I used to give my kids grapes without washing them or just rinsing them off like my mom did, because back then, Barbette, we could, right? Because we didn't have all this stuff. It's disgusting. It will blow you away. Joanne, I take mine every night. Jim takes his every night. It's just part of our nighttime routine. The girls like the Kid Sense Mighty Pro, so they take their probiotics at night as well. But sometimes I'll pack Sahara's probiotic in her lunch because it tastes good and she thinks she's getting a treat. So, can we take too much? Probably yes, but I will say that all of our supplements are labeled, if you are a healthy adult, this is the dose that you need for health. So if your body is below the health line and you're needing some extra TLC, I take more than I choose to take more than what's on the label. Okay. But here's the thing, what I would do, I would start with one and see how your body responds. If you feel like you're not getting enough, then up it to 2. Take 2 for a few days, see how you're doing. You'll figure out, like, you're in tune to your body. You'll know what your body needs. Okay. Is that answer? Is that good? All right. Okay. Number 5.
So I just tried to look this up to see how to pronounce it properly. It's bifidobacterium. There it is. Bifidobacterium lactis.
See, you didn't know I was going to quiz you tonight, Barbette.
Bifido. Yeah, it's the bifido. All I kept seeing was Fido, but it's bifido.
It's bifido, yes. So this again works with healthy inflammatory responses. So here's the thing, side note, is a lot of gut issues are inflammation, right? So, and we didn't talk about the gut-brain connection yet. A lot of what Barbette mentioned, gluten a little bit ago, the gluten actually hits the vagus nerve, which is the vagal nerve goes all the way through, right? It's like that master switch. I talked about this at Michigan, right? And what happens is the gluten gets into the nerve impulse and it sends that up into the brain, and we get inflammation in the brain. When we have inflammation in the brain, all sorts of things can happen, right? You have, things that are happening in my home. You have pandas, which are children who have psychiatric issues. You have memory stuff and all sorts of things. So we need to make sure that we are, the side note is, if you're going to go gluten-free because you do not want to, OCD and anxiety, you're right, Jessica. If you don't want, if you are going to explore the gluten-free diet, you have to, without exception, give it 6 to 7 months, because it takes 6 months to get the gluten out of your body. And I just learned this. If my child is gluten-free, but I'm not, so my husband's gluten-free, he's got celiacs, right? I am not. Here's the thing, when I kiss my husband, guess what happens? Blows me away. I didn't even know it. Even if he gets a drop of saliva, it contaminates him, and like another 6 months to get it out of his system. Isn't that mind-boggling? I shouldn't say that. Cancel clear. I know. I was just watching Barbette's face. Yep. Just learned that. Crazy, crazy. So if you're going to do the gluten-free diet, the whole family has to do it, and you have to do it for 6 months to see the results. Okay. All right, back to my bacteria. That was a side note. All right. No, I can't say it, Barbette.
Bifidobacterium longum.
Yes, it also helps helps our body with allergy responses, and it supports the growth of the other bacteria. So it's helping the other bacteria stay strong and populate. Okay, the good bacteria. So number 6 is the
Bifidobacterium longum. Nobody needs to know all these lovely things.
Thank you.
Then
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say the next one is Bifidobacterium bifidum.
Yep. So let me give you guys a couple other things. So this one corrects the balance of hydration in the body. It also supports the nutrients absorbing into the skin or the gut. It helps to balance blood sugar levels. The next one, Streptococcus. Yeah, I can't say them.
And now, no,
This one
strep.
is strep. Yep, and it helps to increase folate in your body. So if you have a hard time with your B vitamins, you need this bacteria strand. Okay, and it also helps to balance your hemoglobin levels. Like, so it's not just gut issues. Like, it is so complex, and it is also multi-layered, right? And then the last one helps to process the carbohydrates. It also eases constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel, all that stuff that we get in the gut, our discomfort when we eat too much and things that we shouldn't eat and get bloated and all those things. So like, it's a powerful, powerful supplement. Okay. So I believe it's better at night, Hope, than during the day. At night, when you're sleeping, your body heals, and then it allows that population. You're not drinking and eating with it, which could be interrupting the bacteria adhering to the intestinal wall. Okay, so how about all that? All right. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit because we're talking about all this stuff. It's not just gut stuff, guys. They have found that the gut influences menstrual cycles, and women are not supposed to have PMS, like cramping and clotting and all those things that we have. That's not a normal thing. Like, that shouldn't be happening to us. It can be imbalanced gut can be related to heart disease. It could be autoimmune disorders, skin conditions, weight gain, sleep disturbances, food intolerances, your perception of pain. So people who experience pain more, it could be something that's happening in their gut. Barbette talked a lot about the immune system, but I want to kind of just go, it also can be involved in things like Alzheimer's, autism, depression, anxiety, Parkinson's, even strokes, right? So there's a gut-brain connection. So no matter what people are asking me about, I'm always going, tell me about your diet. What are you eating? You know, how is the gut? Are you going to the bathroom? How often are you going to the bathroom? You guys will be amazed at how many people do not poop every day, yet alone 3 times a day. And you're supposed to poop every time you eat a big meal. And Sherry, you knew I couldn't do this class without talking about poop. All right. But I will tell you, there are people who don't poop for a week, and that's not okay. Like, and then you wonder why you have brain fog, and you wonder why you can't focus and concentrate and all those things. So if you're not going regularly, a good probiotic is the first step. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of our other supplements. Can I go ahead and do that, Barbette? Are you good with that? Real quick, because I'm talking about brain stuff, I also want to talk about, like, you know, anxiety and depression and things like that. The production of serotonin is so important. It's our happy hormone. So we're going to talk about hormones, right? We've been talking about that all night. So your liver, we learned that the liver needs to be healthy to produce the cholesterol, to produce the progesterone that triggers all those hormones, which also connects to the serotonin in the brain. So that gut-brain connection. One of the things that I have found over the last couple of years is I absolutely love, and this is going to sound like a bizarre one to be talking about, but I had it on my desk. Here it is. The Kid Sense Unwind. And I kind of wanted to talk about this to you guys, because I think this is really important, especially when we're talking about brain connection. Magnesium deficiency can significantly alter your gut microbiome. Okay, so there are hundreds of processes in the body that need magnesium, and the Kid Sense Unwind is for kids for calming, but it's also great for adults. And a couple of the reasons that they measured, there was a research study that they assessed people who were deficient in magnesium for 6 weeks. And what they found were that deficiency in magnesium resulted in anxiety and mood disorder. But the deficiency in magnesium also, what did we just say? It affects the gut microbiome. So it's like this cyclic cycle that is just going. So taking a good magnesium supplement, taking an Epsom salt bath. We have supplements that have magnesium in it. My husband loves this one, so he takes 3 a day because it's not the RDA. So he takes 3 of them. But it also, besides the magnesium, which has hundreds of biochemical reactions in the body, it also has amino acids that help with the production of neurotransmitters. So when we're talking about that gut-brain connection, we need to make sure neurotransmitters are working. It also has GABA, which is involved in regulating the communication between brain cells in the brain. Obviously, if they're brain cells, they're in the brain. They also, GABA produces a calming sensation of feelings and anxiety, fear, and stress and all those things. So it helps to relax us, right? And then it also has 5-HTP, and that is a substance in the brain that gets converted into serotonin in the brain, and serotonin is our happy hormone, right? So serotonin can affect our sleep patterns, mood regulation, appetite, again, pain sensation, and all those things. So I highly recommend this supplement to everybody. So it doesn't matter if you're going, I need my gut, right? And I want to be healthy with my gut. If you're trying to support your health, the health of your gut, you should also be supporting the health of your brain, right? That connection there. Angela, it's the Kid Sense Unwind, and it's kind of like a pixie stick. It's a watermelon flavor. And those of you who tried it when it first came out and it was bitey, they reformulated it. They got rid of that substance that was in it that was causing the bite on your it wasn't really a bite, but it was spicy, right? So they reformulated it, and this one is a lot more smooth. Yes, it's in a purple package, and it's like a little pixie stick, and you can just dump it right on your tongue. I do like 3 or 4 little tips to get it all in, but you can also put it in a shot glass with water and just down it that way too, depending on how you want to take it. So I love this one. Okay. So we talked about the probiotics. We talked about that one. Alkaline. Have you guys tried that one? Alkaline. Okay, Barbette's shaking her head. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So alkaline, it is super important that we're balancing the alkaline mineral and essential oils, the acidity in our body, right? We need to mind our pH balance. If our pH balance is too acidic, we're prone to disease, right? So Young Living has the alkaline supplement that we can use to help to balance that, okay? It counteracts the overconsumption of processed sugars and pastas, bread, and processed corn products, but that doesn't give you guys an excuse to go eat it. I'm just gonna say. All right, okay. Use it in the AM so you can set your pH for the rest of the day. Okay, so you drink it in the morning and you go on with your day. It boosts your alkalinity. It helps to deprive yeast and fungus like nutrients, so it starves them. And it can also counteract the acidic terrain that's in your gut, right? So that's awesome. It also helps to enhance the body's blood and tissue, because if we need an alkaline like body, right, like that's going to help all of that. And if we're doing that, it's not destroying the good bacteria. So you guys good with that? If you are acid dominant, there are a lot of things that can be going on in your body. You can have fatigue and low energy. That could be a pH thing in your body. Like, did you guys know that? It's not just because you're burning the candle at, well, it might be because you're burning the candle at both ends, but it's also causing the pH, right? Having aches and pains that you can't explain can be related to your pH in your body. Being overweight, having allergies, like not being able to deal with the pollen in the air, headaches, irritability, indigestion, ulcers, diarrhea, like candida, all of those are related to pH balance. We have to have a pH balance for our bodies to be healthy. Okay. All right. 2 more products that I want to highlight tonight. One is my favorite. I love the supplement, multigreens. Yes, Barbette? Oh, you said
No,
you
I
did
just
too?
knew. I knew.
You knew it was going to be multigreens. I love it. I teach it at every class that I teach. I just love it. So multigreens increases the oxygen in your body, but those of you who are looking for brain health, it also helps to increase oxygen in the brain, right? The body, like you take it, it goes everywhere. It adds trace minerals, and it has the Melissa oil. So if Melissa oil is out of your budget, take your multigreens. That's how we found it. We found Melissa was really good for my one daughter's anxiousness, and it went out of stock one time. And then I realized it was in multigreens, and that's how we got it in our house. And we just never went back. We use it all the time. So if you can't afford Melissa, take your multigreens, you'll still get the benefits from it. And Gary told me that if you all knew what Melissa did, you would take it every day and we wouldn't be able to keep it in stock because it's so powerful. Like it's a powerful oil. The multigreens also supports a healthy blood sugar level. I just learned that, so I have upped my dose lately. It neutralizes acid. So we just talked about the good pH, right? Multigreens is going to help you with that. So do you guys know that when Gary first formulated multigreens, it didn't have oils in it, okay? And when they tested the formula, the blood absorption rate was 24% within 24 hours. So after 24 hours of taking it, the blood absorption went to 42%, which is pretty high for a supplement in and of itself, okay? So then he added the Melissa into it, and I think there's a couple other oils in there too. And what they did when they tested it, it went from 42% up to 64% in 30 minutes, not 24 hours. Within 30 minutes, the blood absorption increased that much. But the kicker is within an hour, it went up to 86%. So just by adding the oils to it. So here's my hint to you guys. Even if you're not into doing supplementation, which I hope you guys consider doing a couple supplements, because I think they're really, like, we don't get enough nutrients from the foods that we eat. As long as you're using your oils, you are still absorbing and assimilate more nutrition from your foods than people who don't use essential oils. So if you can't get your kid to take supplements from like multigreens, put the oils on their feet, because that will help the blood absorption from the foods that they are eating, and make sure that they're the foods that Barbette talked about, right? The good fruits and vegetables and not the buck stuff, okay? This means that our cells are receiving more nutrition. And the bottom line is, it's not the supplements and the oils that are doing anything. They're not. We're just giving our body the nutrition it needs for our body to do what God created it to do. Like, our bodies were created perfectly, but we live in this so imperfect world that we get all these things happening, but it's because of our lifestyle. And like, it's 2022, folks, right? But when we start using our oils, we can get through that, okay? So last one, very, very simple one, and y'all might not like me after this. Digize. You guys like your digize?
Yes. It's like black licorice.
How many of you like it under your tongue, like something like? Sherry, I knew you were gonna. Oh, Julie does too. Okay, that's awesome. So here's the thing. Sarah's like, I'll do it, but I don't like it. Okay, digize within seconds. They have shown this in research. Affects your entire digestive system, your gastrointestinal. Within seconds, it begins to heal. So if you have a gut thing going on, get the good probiotic, Life 9, get your body back into pH balance, but also start using your digize under your tongue. You might hate me after it, but I'm telling you, one drop under my tongue and my tummy woes are gone. Like it works fast. I see a couple heads shaking up and down, but like seconds, that's crazy. And your body knows when you put something in your mouth, if it's good for you or bad for you. So when I put digize in my tongue, under my tongue, my body knows that it's good. It absorbs it and it's feeling good and it's doing its thing. When I eat a candy bar or a bag of chips, minute it hits my mouth, my body knows it's not good for me. And then that's when you start feeling less than status quo, right? You feel bad and you feel like fatigued and drained. And it's because your body knows and it's giving you those signals. All right, Barbette.
Now I'm laughing at some of the comments over
I
here.
saw that.
Digest under your tongue.
Try it. If you're brand new to oils, maybe not try that one. That would probably, I wouldn't recommend that. Take your probiotic. All right. On that note, if you're watching the recording, get back to the person who sent it to you